So today is the World Mental Health Awareness Day, and on this occasion the GCCI IR and HR committee has decided to bring this program to you all. So may I first request all our esteemed speakers to please come on the dais. That is Dr. Peter Castellino, Mr. Sharad Sodekar, Pallavi Desai, Manoj Mahale. Thank you guys for clapping. I am Pallavi Desai, Director of Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And on this occasion of World Mental Health Day, and on behalf of the GCCI IR HR Learning and Development Committee, I'm happy to welcome you on this program, on this seminar, Understanding Workplace Mental Health. We have an engaging agenda lined up for you. Today we will explore the importance of understanding mental health issues and how they impact our work environment. Let's dive deep in and discover how we can create a healthier, more supportive workplace for everyone. For a formal introduction now, on the dais we have with us Mr. Sharad Sodekar. He is the co-chairman of the GCCI IR HR Learning and Development Committee. And also Mr. Manoj Mahale and Ms. Pallavi Desai. They are both members of the GCCI IR HR Learning and Development Committee. And of course, representing COOCH are Dr. Peter Castellino and Ms. Neeta Mascarenas. I now request Mr. Manoj Mahale, other than being a member of our committee, he is the Assistant General Manager HR, Sai Service Private Limited. I would request Mr. Mahale to please propose the formal welcome.
Good afternoon, friends. As we all know, there are many special days celebrated over the world for different reasons. But today, especially, it's a special day for all the HR and non-HR heads of the organizations that exist. On the occasion of the World Mental Health Day today, which aims to raise awareness of mental health issues and encourage efforts to support those experiencing mental health issues. HR IR Learning and Development Committee, GCCI, along with the COOCH Mental Health Foundation is organizing this seminar. Understanding workplace mental health, an essential knowledge for the HR and non-HR professionals. At the outset, on behalf of the IR HR Learning and Development Committee, it's my privilege to welcome our dignitaries for the function. I extend my warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. Peter Castellino, Director COOCH. It's a pleasure to welcome Ms. Neeta Mascarenas, Coordinator of the Rehabilitation Program COOCH. We also would like to welcome our esteemed members of panel discussion, Moderator Mrs. Pallavi Desai, Associate General Manager HR Persistent Systems Limited, Panelist Mr. Sharad Sodekar, former Director HR the Leela Goa, Dr. Akshada Amonkar and Mrs. Gatekeeper. It's a very satisfying moment for us to see such a lovely audience for this seminar, which aims at to equip HR and non-HR professionals to understand the mental health issues at the workplace, to strategize and support employee comfortability at the workplace, to identify the causes of mental illness, to remedize the best course of immediate action, and we aim this program to know in what way we can control the mental illness at the workplace. Once again, I welcome the objective today is to understand how to be happier at the workplace and boost the self-esteem of an employee. With this small introduction of our program, today I once again welcome you all and hope you will enjoy the evening with our speakers and panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahale, for that welcome. I would request you now to welcome Dr. Peter Castellino and Ms. Neeta Mascarenas. The rules. I would now request the dignitaries to please to the audience, and we will now request Dr. Peter Castellino. He's the director of Pooch, and he is going to talk to us on no health without mental health. So, warm round of applause for Dr. Peter Castellino. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Pradeep DeCosta, President GCCI, and our Director General, Mr. Vice President GCCI, and our Director General, Mr. Sanjay Amankar. They are with us, and thanks for coming.
To raise awareness about a topic that is, one thing is very close to our heart, because for the last so many years we have been working on this topic. But more than that, it is something which is important and required at our workplaces. But more than our workplaces, it is important for ourselves, for each of us here. Because unless we enjoy good mental health, we are not happy. We are not happy at all. And therefore, even though the theme, the topic was given no health without mental health, I would actually like to change it a little bit. I would like to convert it to mental health as the key to success. And as we go through this talk, we'll try and understand how mental health actually helps us to be more successful in whatever we want to do. I'd like to thank GCCI as well as Pooch and the Goa Psychiatric Society, from where I belong, also, for raising awareness on mental health today. So I'd like to start with this image. This image shows a man who stands tall on top of a hill, feeling empowered. This is what we all want in our lives. We all want to be successful. We want to be successful in our careers. We want to be successful in whatever we do in our family life, in our relationships, in the dreams and goals that we have for our children. This is what we all want. But how do we achieve this? How do we get there? And it reminds me of when I go back to one of my school reunion actually, not my college, my school reunion, the 10th century reunion, where we had it in Dubai, because I studied in Kuwait. So all of us, like after 25 years, we all met. We were like teenagers once again. We were having a ball of a time. And over there, each one was talking to everyone, trying to figure out what everyone has done in their lives. And we all did okay. Many of us, I became a doctor, someone else an engineer, IT engineer, HR, managers, and we all did well and we were okay with ourselves. Then we saw this one guy. He failed in 7th standard. He failed in 8th standard. By chance, he passed in 9th standard. He scraped through 10. By then, it was the Kuwait War, the Gulf War, the invasion. We all fled the country and came back to India, wherever. Their family remained. And after the war settled down, he started doing something that he was good at. Now, he did not know science, he did not know algebra, geometry, geography, history, but he knew addition, multiplication, exponential whatever. He knew how to multiply things. So he started a small business of selling pencils on the road. He sold a few things, made a profit, bought more, and that's how he built up the whole idea that he is not a failure. That anyone might think that he's a failure, but he believed that he has something to offer society and to offer himself, and he capitalized on that. Today, he's running a huge, successful business with branches in Pune, Delhi, Mumbai, London, and now in the next year he's planning another branch in New York. This guy, who everyone considered a failure, travels business class, takes his entire family on these 5-star luxurious vacations, and we look at him on Facebook and say, oh my God, where did we go wrong? So what he had that so many others did not was resilience. He built himself from nothing. When everyone thought he was a loser, he thought otherwise. He went against the flow. Then I went for another reunion. This was my medical college reunion. Again, after 25 years, good to meet everyone. One is an ophthalmologist, one is a surgeon, one is a neurosurgeon, and everyone. And then there was this guy again. The whole day his head was in his books. He only walked up and down in our hostel, studying and studying and studying. This guy was the love of every teacher. Gold medal after gold medal after gold medal after gold medal. And here we lived, everything that happens in a college. This guy put all his eggs into one basket and only studied. Finally, what we saw is that we're all doing okay in life. We're all doing okay. But this guy, even though he's a gold medalist, in his clinic there's so many certificates, his practice is not doing well at all. Because what he forgot was to develop people skills. What he forgot was to build himself up, to empathize with someone else. And that is what patients look for. Half the cure is in the approach of a doctor. He did not have that. So where he lacked was, he didn't live a balanced life. He didn't live a balanced life. And then there are people who are able to overcome things, the most toughest events in their life. They're able to rise up because of their belief system. If you believe that everything happens, not if you believe, but there are some people in life who believe this. Everything happens for a purpose. Good or bad, there is destiny. There is a purpose. And that purpose is for our good. Some people have that belief. They're able to take on challenges more easily. Because they know that they're facing the storm right now. But if they only clinch on, if they wait, if they are patient, they're going to see the rainbow. And in fact, we're going to have a book launch after this session, after the morning. And we will see that belief system coming alive in an 82-year-old woman. How her life is a testimony to positive belief systems. And these are simple things, but these are the secrets to success. These are the secrets to us having the careers, the aims, and fulfilling the ambitions that we have in life. But it all starts here. It all starts here. See, in today's world, we all want to look good, right? We spend a lot of time dieting, keto diets, low carb diets, calorie deficient diets because we want to look good. We'll spend hours in the gym, strength training. You want to look good. But I ask you one question. Yes, you may look good from outside, but when you open your mouth, if your personality doesn't match what they see outside, you're not going to be successful at all. And you go back, you'll find out in college, some of these guys, they look horrible, but they get the best looking girls. The best looking girls, because what they have is confidence. And then you have the macho guys who get nobody. No one wants to come close to them also. It is the mind that gives character to a person. It is the mind that gives life, that builds your personality. And that's why if you see all of us, and we are only a few compared to the population we have in the world, but each person is unique. Each person is unique. So if we want to really focus on ourselves, focus on ourselves and work on ourselves, we need to know first what to work on, what to focus. Like see, we know very clearly in your physical health, go to a doctor, he'll check every part of your body. We know that if you have to look good, have this diet, work on this muscle system, work on your biceps, do this, we know exactly what we have to do if we have to work on our physical health. But in our psychological health, which actually matters to us being successful in life, what do we work on? People don't have a clue. And because we don't have a clue, we do not know where to even start from. So for that, we need to understand what are the functions of the mind. Yeah? So, can anyone tell me some of the functions of the mind? Basic functions? Thinking.
It controls our behavior.
Behavior secondary.
Emotions.
Yeah? Emotions, very good.
Reasoning.
Our reasoning capacity. Our imagination, our fantasy life, our memory, our perception levels, our intelligence, our ability just to stay focused at what I'm saying. Whereas after 2 minutes we are thinking, oh my god, 5:30 where I go. Yeah? Just to remain focused. So we need, when we come to a psychiatrist, what we do is a systemic examination of every part of your mind. It may seem that I'm just talking to you and at the end of it, you'll say, he didn't even examine me, he just spoke to me and charged me so much. But I just didn't charge you so much. I charged you for examining how you talk, how you speak, how you hold the conversation, whether you're forgetting things or you're not, whether you're oriented to where you are. Yeah, so I'm checking every aspect, how you deal with challenges. And then I charge you that much money. Yeah. So we have to realize that the mind is what gives character and personality, and let us spend time focusing on the mind. So I've written, these are some, not the whole, the list is exhaustive. I've just written some of the important things that we as clinicians do. Now you say thoughts. You can have realistic thoughts, but sometimes when we talk to people, we realize that their thoughts are really not realistic. Yeah? There's not connecting with the situation. For instance, as simple as, say this hall can accommodate, say 100 people, and I'm planning an event for 500 people in this hall. Unrealistic thinking? Yeah? But some people have this unrealistic thinking, and that causes them to be so distressed. Some people may have a delusional thought. You know what's a delusional thought? What's a delusion? It's a belief which is false, but it's fixed. You cannot change it. For instance, I'm thinking, yeah, Pallavi called me here. She forced me to go for tea, even though I didn't want to have tea. Now maybe she's put something in that. Maybe by the end of the day, I'm going to go home a dead man. That's just it's a false thought, right? But if I believe in it, and remember there are people who believe in it. A lot of people have disturbances in their relationships because there are doubts. One spouse doubting the other spouse. There is no truth at all. Normally you come home at 6 o'clock today, 6 or 10, where were you? 10 minutes is enough. He believes that. Emotions. It determines us, how we handle our lives. Because we all go through feelings. We go through anger, joy, happiness, sadness, anxiousness. It's all normal. But sometimes when it gets pervasive, it gets too much, it goes beyond, and it's now affecting our lives, we need help. It could be a problem. It could be a problem. And today, depression is huge. Depression is huge. And that is what brings down productivity. The person is there, available, physically he's there. But he's not able to give his potential because he just can't do it. He's not having that energy, that fuel to even be present because he's feeling down, he's lost interest. And then you have some people who fly off the handle for the least things. You say something small, I'll take this and I'll throw it. I'll take my cell phone, I'm keeping it. But I'll throw something which, I just fling things. Because I can't control, and then I feel very upset, very angry, very sorry, why did I do this? But it's a problem. And I need help for that. And then there are people who get frightened, afraid. Sometimes they don't know why they get afraid, or sometimes they are aware but they can't help themselves. We have another thing, the perfectionists. Yeah, everything has to be done perfectly in order, and they spend a lot of time sending out that email. It's a simple email, but they want it to be perfect. The language has to be proper. Every word has to be spelled. They have to spell check after spell check, and they just send it on. So much of energy has gone in not sending out that email, in kind of just thinking of that email. So emotional issues are very much present, and they cause a lot of distress. Perception. What is perception? Our understanding, our interpretation. Now we all know this. What does this mean? So suppose I entered and all of you all did this. What would it mean? I entered. I entered and you all said this. What should it mean? And now I'm going and you'll all do this, it should mean? But what if I interpreted the way you all actually meant it? You see? So problems in perception can affect relationships. How we read things, how we put in meaning into things. Very often he's meaning one thing, but we are understanding something else. That can cause problems. Judgment, what is right from wrong, can again differ from person to person because his own morals are different. But culturally we have a broad understanding of right from wrong. Individually it can differ depending on your life situation, your upbringing, and so many things. Reasoning, intelligence, okay, we understand that. Memory, a lot of people have memory issues. Attention, concentration, as I said, today this is one of the biggest issues. And people don't even know. Now awareness on ADHD is coming up. Now. But a lot of people have grown up with ADHD until today they don't even know. I know people who, being professionals, are now diagnosing themselves at a much later age that yes, I have AD. And because I have attention deficit, maybe tasks are not being completed. Or maybe, I start with one thing, I jump into something else. I just can't keep focus. So a lot of, and then you have the traits. This is the most interesting one. Because see, we all, as I said, are unique because we all have our own bunch of traits, which is different from you, different from you. Now we would have hoped that someone had a trait, all his traits were someone of kindness, of goodness, being very calm in every situation, being very forgiving, being generous, always happy. If someone had this kind of a trait, who would he be? The Almighty. Because none of us have got all these traits. We have it in some measure, but most of our measures are, we have everything, right? We have the good, the bad, the ugly, and all of us have it. Nobody is a saint over here. Nobody is a saint. We all have we have a mixture of everything. But a lot of people, see, these are normal. But sometimes it comes to abnormal, where someone will always believe that only he is right. He is the best, and he knows what is best for you. Who is he? He is a narcissist. Very difficult to work with such a person. And if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, basically you are being abused. Very, very difficult. Okay? Or you have someone who is always suspicious, always thinking why this person must be behaving this way. There must be some ulterior motive this person has. Everything is always with a secondary ulterior motive. I can see people's head shaking. Yeah? And you find a lot of these people are the ones fighting cases. One case after another, they just can't stop finding issues when there's no issue also. Who are they? they are the paranoid personality disorder. Okay? And then you have the people who will like, they are the rescuers. They'll rescue you from any situation. They'll rescue you. But once they rescue you, you cannot leave. You are theirs. Now they control you. Now they control you. If you leave, they will threaten to end their life, to cut themselves, to hurt themselves, because they fear abandonment. Who are these? The borderline. Yeah? The borderline. And these, we may be laughing, and I'm telling you, it's there. And there are many people with these problems. And also us, who hopefully all of us are within the level of what we call normal. Yeah? We all have some amount of these traits in some measure. Everyone has it. Yeah? It comes up sometimes. It comes up. Yeah? It comes up. Now, what I spoke is about normal, and I showed you a little bit of where normal can shift into abnormal. Now, I also want to tell you one thing is very important is, not everyone can be good at everything. So you'll have some people who are extremely intelligent, but they're not successful because maybe their emotions have not allowed them to give their best potential, or maybe their attention, maybe they're just not able to focus for too long, and so the intelligence is limited. The use of the intelligence is limited because the other aspects of their body do not work well. It's like maybe you only have a heart problem, but everything else is fine. Just fix the heart problem and you're better, right? So we need to understand which part of ourselves is having the problem and work on that part. So I just gave you some illnesses, like thought disorders can be schizophrenia, delusional disorder, emotions like depression, bipolar, anxiety disorder, perception synesthesia. You know what synesthesia is? Anybody? Yeah? Do you want to see sounds? Do you want to hear colors? Do you want to have that experience? Anyone would like to have that experience? Yeah, you'd like to have that experience? Little bit of LSD.
Oh my God.
Little LSD. Little bit. Huh? Go to Amsterdam, no, they sell it. Yeah, they give for 7 euros you can have that experience. Little bit LSD, you're in cloud 9 now. So that is what is called synesthesia. It's a different type of a hallucination. Yeah, so memory, dementia. Dementia is another illness which is so very common today. Yeah, there's almost in Goa. So in India, there are almost 4.5 to 5 million people who have dementia. Yeah? It's huge. These are not small numbers. Schizophrenia in Goa itself will be around 25 to 30,000 people having this problem. Yeah? And to support people with schizophrenia, initially Cooch was started because what we saw is people were giving only medicines. And we said, see, medicine does not make it the man. There's more to a man than just giving him medicines and putting him to sleep. Help him with the other skills. Help him, give him a chance. Give him a chance to live, to thrive. We are the problem if a person with a disability remains disabled. We are the problem. Yeah, and Neeta will explain to you why. Because if we do not change the environment, that person who is disabled will remain disabled. There's so many people. I'm speaking only people with psychiatric disabilities. There are people with physical disabilities also. Yeah? Okay, so I want to talk about these also because these normal biological functions can also have a problem and they come under the purview of mental health. Sexual problems, today a lot of relationships again are not proper because of sexual problems and people feel embarrassed to go to a doctor. Nothing to feel embarrassed. It is a problem, seek help. Eating problems, sleep. Today, I'm telling you, I want to ask everyone quietly in your mind, don't you tell me. Are you getting 7 hours of sleep? And why we're not getting 7 hours of sleep? Is this the culprit? Is this the culprit? How many of us are scrolling before going to sleep? aimlessly scrolling those 10, 15, 10, 15 second reels. You know what we're setting ourselves up for, all of us? Early death. You know what happens in sleep? You know what happens in sleep? Repair of the body. And if you do not get those 7 hours of sleep, the repair of the body is not taking place. By seeing these reels, we are getting addictive. Our concentration span is reducing. You may not have been born with ADHD, now you'll get it. Yeah? Now you'll get it. Yeah? You want it? Please. If you want to feel refreshed in the morning, put your phones aside. Sleep early. I'm telling myself also. You don't sleep early. Yeah. And addictions. See, remember, addictions is a disease. It is not a choice. It may have started off as a choice, but now it is a disease. Simply telling a person who drinks too much, stop drinking, don't you know that it's affecting my family, is not going to change anything. He needs professional help in 2 steps. Many people do only the first step, is helping him to stop. The second most important step is helping him not to start again. Is something which very few people actually take on. And unless they do that step, he is going to say, I can stop at any time. I said, yeah. How many times have you stopped? I have stopped so many times. Baba, that is the problem, no? You have to stop only once. Not so many times. If you have stopped so many times, you haven't started so many times, right? So that's where the problem is. So a few facts. 1 out of every 5 persons has a diagnosable mental illness. How many of us are here in this room? Wow. Mild, moderate, severe. I'm not talking about it severe. A study was done in a college in Bombay where they found that almost 80% of their students at that time were depressed. Not all were severe. Majority were mild. They had some level of dysthymia, a little bit, Then we had some moderate, fewer with severe, and some who were feeling suicidal at that time. Around 60 million people, Indians, suffer from depression. Suicide, this is very important, is the leading cause of death in the age group of 15 to 29. This is a young population who's the future of tomorrow. They are dying from a very preventable condition. And who is to blame? Everybody. Everybody. It's easy to blame only parents or teachers or the system. No, it is everybody is responsible. And since it's an everybody problem, it is the responsibility of everybody to fix it. The next one is even more alarming. 13,000 businessmen lost their lives last year. You know how many students lost their lives last year? The same number. Google it and check. It's around 13,000, a little bit more than 13,000. In India. That means less than an hour, right? Yeah, in less than an hour, one student is dying to suicide in our country. You know, 13,000 in any college. How many students are there in a college in Goa? Around 1,500, 2,000. So imagine the students of around 6 to 7 colleges wiped off to suicide. All the students of Goa, all gone. Very preventable. And what is being done for suicide prevention in our country? Minimal. There is no budget allocated for suicide prevention. We have been running a program on our own. Our own family and friends have been helping us, and so far we've sustained for the last 12, 13 years. Yeah? It is because people do not know. When you talk about suicide, they're like in a quandary. They don't know where. They just don't know where to start. And they feel so afraid. But I tell you, these are people who have died to suicide. For every person that has died to suicide, 20 more people have attempted and survived. And 100 more people are thinking about it. these are 30,000 businessmen, but in India, 1,75,000 people died last year to suicide. Give me a figure. Give me a figure. I'm not a businessman. Yeah? You all understand the language of business, and you all will understand it through the language of money. Give me an amount over here. Anyone? Take a guess? $2.5 trillion. So it is something, if we want to be more productive, we need to think of the mental health of our employees. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. Stress, just the stress from work. Simple, those are mental health issues, big ones. Stress. Stress is common among everyone because the student, they do not know how to handle life. Just simple things they don't know how to handle. Or they're just doing too much at one time. They're not de-stressing. They're not giving themselves time to just relax and live that full life. We put all our eggs into one basket, forgetting that we've got many aspects to our life. It's not only with work and our family, but it's our self-care also. Yeah, don't give all your time to your kids and your workplace. You have to take care of yourself. Sleep well, eat well, enjoy life also. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Now don't go over enjoying also. Don't over enjoy. I mean, live a balanced life, you know. Now, we spoke of many things, and I'm ending here. Yeah? We spoke of many things. But we need to pause. We need to pause and reflect. Which part of myself, where, how? We need to start the process of self-discovery. We need to start that process of self. How do we do it? It helps talking to somebody else. It helps. It may be a friend, a close person. It may be, it may be someone you trust. If you don't have anyone, a helpline, or a counselor, a therapist, but it helps to talk. Remember, there is this window, and most of you probably will know about this window. It has 4 parts in it. The first part of the window is I know, you know. Do you know this window? Yes. The second part of the window is I know, you don't know. The third part of the window is you know, I don't know. And the last part is I don't know and you don't know. We both know I'm wearing a blue shirt. Absolutely not a problem. I know things about myself, you don't know and you don't need to know. Absolutely not a problem. The last 2 windows is which shows us a large part of ourselves is in the unknown. Why we behave in certain ways. Sometimes we can't understand why we behave in a particular way. Why get tense so fast always? Why get angry so fast? Why am I always worried about, just worried? Why can't I make up my mind? A lot of this comes because I do not know myself. The roots from my childhood, my defense mechanism, how I protected myself, I do not know. And because I do not know myself, it's easy to follow the flock. If everyone thinks the meaning of success is getting more money and better car and a better house, I am also running behind that. Because I do not know myself. Today we are getting a generation of young Indians who are migrating into Goa, buying our village houses. They've left high-paying corporate jobs to come into Goa, and they have started little projects like farming and environment-friendly ventures. They don't care about the money, but they care about being happy because finally they have discovered themselves, they're happy with themselves, they're content. But many of us don't know ourselves. So I said, start the process of self-discovery. You will know yourself, and then confidently you will tell someone, if that makes you happy, fine. It doesn't make me happy. And I don't care, I don't want to go with the flow. So that is something which is very important. Know yourself. So this was what Johari is doing. Oh gosh, why is this coming to us? Okay, it's about, sorry. Yeah, so the number, just remember this number. It is 6361612525. Remember this number. Promote this number in your organizations. You know what is this number? I hope this slide comes good. It's the Coach Distress Helpline. It's available from Monday to Friday, 1 to 7 p.m. So it is a helpline where you can call. Yeah, you can call someone. Can you just fix it? This one. You can call on this number and someone will pick up the phone. You do not have to tell your name, where you're from, what you do. But you can share your innermost secrets. You can't, okay. The most darkest parts of your life which you're ashamed of and you can't share with anyone, but it is eating you up. You can share it on this helpline. As I told you, the advantage is it is completely confidential. Yeah? We get calls from across India. Yeah? And people with genuine problems. Though it's a suicide helpline, but suicide is the end. But the pathways to suicide, if they get blocked earlier on, why not? Yeah? So please remember this number and promote this number. And another way you can promote this is if you want to volunteer with us. Yeah? If you want to volunteer with us. Yeah? Or you want to support us. Yeah? So if you want to volunteer, you have to give us 4 hours of your time once a week. Donna Arona over there, Donna, put your hand up. Yes, she's the coordinator of the suicide helpline. Yeah, so you can give your numbers to her and yeah, okay, this I think will come to the panel, so I will not get into this. Any questions? No? Later? Okay. Let's build on our mental health so our Mondays can be happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Peter Castellino. I believe he deserves another big round of applause. So thank you so much for explaining all this to us, especially about the pause. I think the pause was very important because in today's day when everyone and everything is at such a fast pace and there is no stopping, the pause and taking in a deep breath and then going on the discovery journey, being self-aware, understanding things, and especially the fact that you brought about of perceptions. I think that is also something so important because what we give out or how we interact with people a lot of times also depends on our perception of them, need not be actually how they are, actually what their intent is. So just taking that pause I think is very important. Dr. Peter has also given you the helpline number, so do share it with you all. Now I would request Ms. Neeta Mascarenas, coordinator of the rehabilitation program of Coach. She will speak on the step-in program, that is skill training and employment for persons with psychiatric disorders and neurodiversity. So over to you.
At Coach Mental Health Foundation, we believe that mental wellness is a journey and no one should walk it alone. Since 2000, we have been dedicated to transforming lives, offering holistic support to individuals with mental health challenges, their families, and the broader community. Coach offers a range of programs designed to meet the needs of those facing mental health challenges. Our rehabilitation program provides personalized support, helping individuals rebuild their lives with dignity and independence. Our senior care initiative creates safe spaces for older adults to stay connected, active, and emotionally supported. And through our suicide prevention program, we equip communities with the tools to recognize warning signs and provide support. Through gatekeeper workshops and other initiatives, we are helping to foster hope and save lives. From rehabilitation to senior care and suicide prevention, our dedicated team of professionals and volunteers works together to ensure that every individual receives the care they need when they need it most. At Coach, we don't just treat conditions, we nurture relationships, resilience, and recovery. Together, we are building a future where mental health is embraced with compassion and care.
Coach
Mental Health Foundation, empowering minds, transforming lives.
So before I start, I would like to explain to you all about the disability. So a person is as disabled as the environment makes it. So what is meant by disability? So it's like, okay, I can give you an example about polio. So a person who has polio virus, it affects his nerve system. So when it affects his nerves, he might have a shorter limb, so which he finds difficult to walk. So he is handicapped for life. So that can be, so he is disabled. He has a disability that he cannot walk. So the environment helps him out by customizing a shoes which he can wear and he can walk well. So that is how the environment helps him out. So that is, he is disabled for life, but there are opportunities where he can walk stable in his life. So whereas we work with the people with psychiatric disability and neurodiversity. So when I mean by psychiatric disability, what is psychiatric disability? A person who is suffering from schizophrenia, he has certain issues like thought disturbance. So which Dr. Peter was explaining, he explained several things about the perception, about his thinking ability, his focus is hampered. So this is something which is called as a disability. So a person is disabled, so which is not helping him to lead a fruitful life, so which is hampering him to lead a fruitful life. So that is where we coach come into existence. So we help a client. So how do we help a client? So the person with psychiatric disability and the neurodiversity. The neurodiversity means is a condition where ADHD, autism and learning disability come into. So when these people come to us, they come with the problems like which I mentioned, which the person with schizophrenia has. They come with those problems. So what we do is we formulate a structure. So how do we formulate a structure? We do a little assessment, and then based on the assessment, we tailor the goals, and then we help the individual to cope with this problem along with the medication. Medication is an important thing which they need to have, so we psychoeducate them, the need for the medication, and along with this we carry out certain therapies. So when we carry out these therapies, along with that we carry out a occasional therapy. So occasional therapy, you might have seen in the stalls, we have lots of products. So in occasional therapy, we help them to develop the skills which is useful for the employment. So when we do this occasional therapy, earlier we used to do newspaper bags, and we were very well known for newspaper bags, and we used to get lots of orders for newspaper bags. And then when we were doing these newspaper bags, we used to have clients with various learned clients like say a doctor or engineer who were working, they had this illness and they have come to us for the rehabilitation, and then when they were working with us, so we did not have lots of opportunities, so we were making newspaper bags because there was a demand. So when they were making the newspaper bags, at the end of the month, we would give them an incentive like 150 rupees or 100 rupees. That was the incentives what we would give them, because that is what we would earn, and then we would share it with them. So they were demotivated. They would always feel, okay, this is very minimal. So why do I need to be at a rehabilitation center? So when they were showing this improvement in through the various therapies, so they were stuck with us, oh, we have to do only the newspaper bags. At that time, we did not have so much of opportunities where we could send them to work, but we did. A couple of our clients used to work, and then they were successful. They had a potential to work, but some other employers also said that they would need some assistance, some training. So this is what the employers had given the feedback. And then whereas the clients, they would always wanted to get back to the society, that each individual has a right to get back to lead a dignified life. So, and then we were stuck, we were put up because we did not have, we had limitations. We did not have the scope to go further. So, but we did try. So this is our main aim, that we reintegrate them into the society. So we were trying hard to help them out. So that is when, see, from the newspaper bag, we went up to lemonade stalls, and we started seasonal hampers, and then we started food shop events. We had set up a Xerox machine, the lamination machine, and we were helping the clients. Yes, we did help them, but from 150 they could earn only 200, up to 250. So that is what we could provide them, because we did not have those many ideas. So later on, when we were brainstorming and we were trying to get help and connect, that is when we got connected to one organization which has supported us for 2 years for a pilot study, and they have funded us to carry out the employment disability. So this is the program which has given birth to the step-in program. So that is what we have started. So the step-in program has two components. One is skill training and one is supported employment. So when I say skill training, so what is skill training? We have two components again in the skill training. One is employment training program. Earlier I explained so that the clients who had the potential, they wanted to go out and work. The employer said they need a minimum training. So we give a training for the clients. This is the soft skill training, where we work with their interpersonal skills, interpersonal relationships, communication skills, then upgrading their skills. So through interactive sessions, role plays, and then we also take them for field trip. So I can show you the picture. Okay, this is the training first batch, our pilot study, the first training batch which is going on. So they had recently gone to a couple of organizations for the field trip to understand the culture of the workplace, the work etiquettes. So we had taken them and they were very happy about it. So once they finish the training, then we will look into the employment, and they will also undergo, once they finish the training, they undergo an internship. So creative skill training. So there are many clients who are homebound. So maybe they do not want to come out, because when Dr. Peter was explaining, he was saying that they are some people are disturbed, they do not want to be out in the society, they want to be in their homes. So for them, we will reach out to them and train them with the skills. So the skills which they might know, or the skills which they have not learned, we train them with basic skills. So like a simple skills like mat weaving, or microgreens, or that creating vermicompost, or saplings, growing saplings. So these are the things which we are planning to help them out to learn. So with the help of the caregivers and the community. When I say caregivers, it's a family member. So with their support and the community volunteers. So we are planning to carry out the skill training. As well, when we do the skill training, we are planning to do it in the other organizations which work on the mental health field. So we are planning to tag them as well. So it's the creative training will happen at Cooch, in their respective homes and in the community setting. So next component, this is about the training, and the next component is the supported employment. So supported employment, home-based employment and entrepreneurship. So home-based employment is the employment which I said just now, that we go to their homes, we help them to learn the skills. So once we have learned, once they have learned the skills, we ask them to produce, and the produce will be directly be sold with the local vendors. So we have got in touch with local vendors as well, like Zero Post Row, and also they have come forward to help us out. So they will be producing in their homes, and that will be later on sold to the vendors. And the next is a bakery unit at Gooch. So we have lots of products which we have got, which we produced in our bakery unit. So bakery unit is a unit which we have started at the center. So when we train these clients who are independent, they can function, they can work, but they would need little assistance, little supervision. Maybe they cannot work in the open employment. They would need some guidance. So for them, we are planning to set them in the bakery unit. So how many we can accommodate? We cannot accommodate all the clients who undergo a training. We cannot accommodate everyone in the bakery unit. We need to send them to the open employment, so that is where we have come across with the placements. So in placements we are trying to, like here I think everybody has to help us out, so where we can place them and how we can help them to integrate into the society. So when we say like helping them to integrate into the society, so what we will do is we will have a smooth transit where maybe you can tell us what is your requirement, and based on that we are into the field of mental health and we are into training. So probably we will train the client based on your requirement, and then we will transit the client into your organization. So when I say transit the client into your organization, we will train the people and we will sensitize the people in the organization that how they can cope with it. So how they can work with the client, how they can how they can formulate or form a protective environment to help the client. So because we are in the mental health field, so we will be training about the organization, about the mental well-being, and we will be transiting the client into the organization. So when I say about like, you might have fear, like, okay, how will be the client? Will he get aggressive? Will he work? Will he be lethargic? So my answer is that we have seen them, we have trained, so that is where we are. So we will not be just leaving them there, we will be supervising, we will be helping the client. So when we work with the client, it is not only we are working with the client, we work with the family as well. So as a family and the treating psychiatrist, so we work as a team where we formulate a goal and we help the client. So here, when they are in your organization working with you, so we will be forming a team, so we, the family, the treating psychiatrist and the company, so we formulate a goal. So we set a goal, and then so that we can easily work in your workplace. So there are a couple of organizations, like I can remember a supermarket where they have employed a client who is with a psychiatric disability. So he is with them from 15 years. So he wears funky clothes or the funny clothes and then when you see him you will make out he has something not wrong with him. So he has some illness. So but when he is there, so people are very accommodated. His colleagues, the management is very accommodating to him. So sometimes even when he knows you, when he's in a good mood, so then he treats you well. So he will be very eager to carry your bags and all. So when he's not in a good mood, he would not want to see you as well. So, but his company has made, that supermarket has formulated a HR policy to help him out so that there is no difficulty for him in carrying out his work. So he has worked for 15 years and he recently bought a bike with his own salary, with his own hard-earned money which is saved. So it is commendable that one client has done this. And then there is, in Pororan there is a petrol pump where you can see lots of people employed with disability. So Government of Goa has recognized them, and so because of their work. And then you might also think, what is the incentive and why do we need to do this? So it is you will bring a dignity in a person's life. You will bring, the family will be very gratitude to you. So, and we will also be very grateful to you that you have helped a client to get employed in the open employment. So, and then there is the CSR incentive as well. So where Supporting employment or skill development for the persons with disability, include those with psychological disability, can be part of the CSR obligation. So these are the two incentives. I will probably, let me define that. So everyone deserves a chance to contribute and participate in the workforce regardless of their mental health. So thank you.
Guidance or a way out on where they can approach you and how they can integrate people with such psychological problems or disabilities into the workforce and make it inclusive. We at Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry, our goal or our theme for this term 23-25 is inclusivity and sustainability. So thank you so much for telling us that. I would now request Mr. Sharad Sodnikar, sir, if you could please come here and you could offer a small token of appreciation both to Dr. Peter Castellino as well as to Ms. Neeta Mascarenas. A huge round of applause, please. And Dr. Ms. Neeta. Thank you so much. We just have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions in case you want to ask Dr. Peter something. Does anyone want to ask anything? Because we have to proceed with the panel discussion.
I have a question to Ms.
Yeah. So, yeah, Sharad, if you could please come here and ask the question, and Dr. Peter also, please I request you. Just to be here.
Come, question come.
To you.
No, question to her, but both can hear.
Okay.
So that audience can see me. So, Nisha, I had a question. You talked about placements, right? Now, as industry people, we are happy to reach out to people with mental illness. So, just wanted to know, we would be happy to be placement sources in our industry, wherever possible. Now, at what stage of mental illness are your people that we are talking about right now? The set of people you have available for us to be recruited.
So we are not looking.
Can you use mic, please?
We are not looking out the placement right now. So we have the training which we will be.
It is basically those who are stable.
Okay.
We're not going to send anyone to organizations who are not stable. What we are looking at is if you all have got positions, simple positions. We don't want anything which has got too much of complexity. Maybe the data entry, maybe some back-end work, maybe, and especially this task which can be done from home also, those things we are looking at. Or like in a laundry, just kind of folding the laundry, the linen, simple tasks. So if you can tell us that these jobs are available, we will train the people first to accomplish those tasks. So we are running this 4-month training, so the training will be to train them. The next step is then integration. So if he has to be integrated into the workforce, we will train your people to integrate them to accepting how to deal with them. So, and we will handhold them. So when they're coming to work, we will come along with them at least for the first 2 weeks. Now what we are saying is, we're not asking for employment straight away because we don't know, you don't know, we're trying it out. We're asking for internships. Try it out. Give us 3-month internships. So we will place our people into your organization and we'll see how it works. It might just be successful. It might be an utter failure. Yeah, but if we can try it out, and I really request all of you all to really be with us in this journey because the numbers are huge and there are people who are qualified. Yeah, as I said, maybe the intelligence is there, maybe the attention levels are not too good. So over here you'll have to kind of accommodate your, change your HR policies a little bit to include our people. Maybe the regular working hours might have to change. Maybe a little bit more, I don't know, some adjustments will have to
So just based on what you just said about what is the stage at which they are.
Yeah.
Now you must be looking at the job ads that many companies send. Are you in touch with those job ads?
Job ads.
Companies send WhatsApp messages. They put on paper as to
a
what
lot of
class of people they want to hire.
High level jobs.
There are low-level jobs also, team members, entry.
Entry, say office assistants.
Yes, yes. Even those vacancies are out in the market.
Helpers, yes, those we can.
So if you can line up these people in accordance to those roles, like for example a receptionist.
Yes. So right now we are doing that. We have the first batch of 5 people who are going into this, and we are training them. So we've got placements for. The pharmacy we've got, because one person has got like kind of, he's very obsessed, so he's very particular about keeping things in order. So he's excellent like in a pharmacy, or when things have to be kept in an order, he's very good. Like in a supermarket where everything has to be placed in a proper stack, he will do his job very well.
So probably the next step that you can do, can you develop their resumes and send it out in the market?
So we can do that, but also we need to work in partnership, because sometimes we go backwards. This is the job.
We will not call them directly. We will direct them through you.
Okay.
But at least they will be known in the market that they are available.
Yeah, that's true.
People right now in industry, I'm sure nobody knows about people being there with mental illness at whatever level.
Industries that have lines, like line working. So they just have to stand in one place and do the same task. That really works very well for
Sure.
packaging.
How do you kind of get your people, meaning understand from the market that these people are mentally
So as I told,
stressed out,
she beautifully said
because we are right now talking about industry, people who are mentally kind of stressed out.
Yes.
So now you all don't take from the industry, you all have probably taken it from the.
We are looking at both. One is people are already in industry who are stressed out. That is one issue which I think the panel right now is going to work on that. We are looking at another thing where you can include people who have a psychological problem, who have neurodiversity, and if you can include them into your working force.
Because right now the industry is working with differently able people.
Yes.
So
we are also a differently able bunch of people.
No, I know, so that is also come in the
Yes.
same.
So
So probably their
psychiatric-
biodata will be helpful to us
Yeah.
to match them to our requirements.
But
That's what I think you meant.
but our
No, I meant is how do they first understand who are the people available and then they train them.
so they come to us. No?
Okay.
People with psychiatric disability. So we don't know right now, we're not promoting it too much until we have placements. Because a lot of people will come and say, okay, after the youngest training, will you give us a placement, and we're stuck. So if we cannot assure of placements, we cannot assure people coming in for the training.
Yeah, as an employer, you won't be understanding what type of people, skillful people, what you are having. I think it's better those who are interested. You can go to those industry or the business and you can study their processes, and you must be knowing better what type of people, what you have.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In fact, we have started that, and it's really a good thing. If you will invite us, allow us to come to your places, and we can check it out and we'll see whether there's something that can match it. Thank you for that.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
We can invite you to have a look at what positions we have, and then you can decide who will be perfectly okay for that.
Match.
And then you can work out at your end,
Yes.
and then we can come to you and we can see your people, so that both the things can happen together.
And it will not be a fast process, this will be a slow process, but at least one by one, if we can integrate people, more people will be confident. It cannot, I'm not expecting 100, I'm expecting few at a time. Let's fulfill those, then we'll see how it works out. Get in more.
Okay, Dr. Peter, I think
I have to leave.
no, not that, sorry. I mean, it's a very interesting conversation, but we have another panel discussion coming up. If you could just give me the mic. So, thank you so much, Dr. Peter and Ms. Neeta Mascaredes for taking the Q&A. We have a panel discussion lined up, but this is a start, and Cooj has told me that they are open to going to the industry. But this is, I think, one of the first initiatives that industry body has taken to bring all of you together as participants from the industry, and understand from Cooj and understand that this is also like something that you can take under CSR, like a psychological disorder. So I think that's the first step, and we can work out the steps later. So thank you so much for that. I would now request the panelists to come for our panel discussion. Let's start with our moderator. She is Ms. Pallavi Desai. She is, as I said, she's a member of our IRHR Learning and Development Committee. She is also the Associate General Manager HR of Persistent Systems. Next we have Mr. Sharad Sodnikar, co-chair of our committee. He was also the former director HR of the Leela Goa, and he is a consultant on HR matters as well. We have the second panelist, Dr. Akshada Amonkar. Dr. Amonkar, please. She is a psychiatrist. And the third panelist is Ms. Ketki Poro. She is a counselor. I request all of you to welcome our panelists with a huge round of applause, please. And I leave it now to Pallavi to take over and maybe a little bit more about the panelists also, if I have not mentioned anything particular about Ketki and Dr. Akshada. So over to you, Pallavi.
Thank you, and very good evening to everybody present here. It's a little silent.
Good evening.
Thank you for that. Right, so this has been a very eventful evening, I believe, so far. A different experience for all of us, a different topic, but a very important topic, no doubt. The Cooch Foundation has been one of the partners and pioneers in mental health related activities in Goa, making an impact. I think many of the corporates also have been associated in some way or the other. Very grateful to have had you here, Dr. Castillo and Ms. Mascarenas, sharing with us in terms of the work and the various associations that we could really think of. So I think the previous conversation was, it could have gone on for another 15 to 20 minutes or maybe an hour of course, but I'm sure it's a start of these kind of conversations in the future. So let's begin with today's next agenda, which is the panel discussion, and the topic that we are moving into. It's like a segue, right? So far, what did we hear about? We heard about the importance of mental health. How does it affect all of us? And I think if I would ask, I would also ask each of you present here today, I'm sure everyone would have had an experience with anxiety, paranoia, schizophrenia, depression. I think some of the names which Dr. Castellino mentioned, either in our friends, in our family, or let's face it, we've gone through it ourselves as well. There's been a paradigm shift in terms of how people have been looking at mental difficulties in the past and how people look at it today. We must be very sure that this is not a new topic. I mean, we all are human beings, and of course we have been existing for a time immemorial. There have been issues which we've been dealing with in the past, but maybe somehow they were not noticed, we were not aware, and with time they have become a little bit more apparent, more severe and more difficult. So it's very, very important that each of us in our time and space not just acknowledge these issues, but also, work as a community to address, because completely well said earlier as well, it's not somebody, one person who can kind of make a difference. It's all of us collectively who might be able to difference in one way or the other. Today's panel conversation is about prioritizing mental health in the workplace. And from a corporate set point, as I come from, I have been in the HR fraternity for close to 20 years. From a corporate standpoint, I think everybody would agree that having the well-being of your employees and having the well-being of people that you work with is extremely important. So we've been concentrating a lot about the physical well-being so far. It's time to rethink our agenda, and it's time to rethink that wellness is not only about physical wellness, it's also about the mental wellness. And that is completely an important agenda for us today, because if we are losing around 2.5 trillion USD in economy, then that's a lot of corporate opportunity going to waste. More so, it's a lot of human resources going to waste. And I think as any corporate party, we would love to see all of our workforce working productively, working effectively, and how all of us can contribute and how all of us can learn from this entire exercise of this panel conversation and dialogues amongst us is the takeaway from today. So I look forward to this interaction. Very, very happy to have the expert panelists and esteemed panelists on the dais. I'll take a minute to really introduce each of them, and of course request probably Mr. Manoj to also greet them with a bouquet or a flower rather. So let me start with Mr. Sharad Sornekar. Sharad is a part of our GCCI committee. Let me give a little background where we have, as a law practitioner and a facilitator in HR and IR topics, has been at the helm of the committee for many, many years. So Sharad has been one of the pioneers and epitomes of the HR fraternity. He's worked as a director of HR in manufacturing and hospitality industry, and over the years has worked in different kind of sensitive scenarios, sensitive situations, dealing with mental health issues in industry and across. Apart from his industry experience, Sharad has also been an academic support, being part of the Kari Law College and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar College in Bangalore. Apart from these accolades, of course, you must have seen Sharad conducting various type of sessions, developmental programs, apart from the law cases that he's always associated with. So may I ask Mr. Mayur, please can you welcome Mr. Sharad to the desk and have a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. So to continue the introductions, as you will see, we have Dr. Akshata. Dr. Akshata, welcome to this session. And Dr. Akshata is an MBBS and MD in psychiatry. She also holds an FIPS from PHP Bangalore. Dr. Akshata is a consultant psychiatrist based out of Panjim. She's also been associated with different associations before being part of the consulting, independent consulting, IPHB for 7 years, and also the last 5 years as a consultant independently. As a private practitioner, I think what Dr. Akshata brings to the table are her areas of expertise in the treatment of depression, stress, and anxiety. I think these are core issues which all of us have either come across or dealt with in the past. Child psychology, sleep management, and self-motivation programs have been other areas that she has been involved with. She's been a speaker at various events with mental health as a key theme. And Dr. Akshata, we welcome you to this session and hope that we have a very interactive talk today. Mr. Mayur, if you could please help us once again. So we also have Ms. Ketki Parab today. Ms. Ketki is a psychologist and transformational speaker. In terms of an introduction, I have a lot to speak, but let me keep it short. In the field of counseling and training for the last 14 years, has been associated as the founder and president of the WOW Foundation. This is basically facilitating women mental health. Elected as a member of the Goa Mental Health Board and also the State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, member of the Goa State Commission for Women, and most importantly, I would like to highlight, delivered 1,000+ sessions in various institutes, colleges, schools, and corporates in the area of mental health. Apart from being a leading practitioner, I think one or two of the key accolades that I would like to call out is being awarded the Nimbati Award in January of 2023 in Pune for mental health, and most recently, I think it's the last month in 2024, being awarded a Goa Leader Award by the World Women Leadership Congress category. So with this, let me welcome you to this session. Thank you. And I think with these introductions, you all will agree with me that we've got the best of the best experts. A very diverse panel group sitting here today, where we have people from industry as well as practicing psychiatrists and psychologists who would be able to give their expertise in terms of how we can deal with certain issues that we see in our workplace, and maybe also key takeaways for ourselves as well. So with this, let's begin with the conversations, and I'll break with certain stereotypes. We request each of the speakers probably to talk for about 4 to 5 minutes on a particular topic. We'll then go into some Q&A, and audience, we will open up the floor for questions as well. So be ready with your questions because we will definitely want to use the time that we have with the panel. So like I said, I'll break the stereotype today and I'll start with Sharad requesting the gentleman in the dais. Sharad, since you have a myriad experience from industry and have actually looked at human behavior and situations in the workplace. Could you shed a little light in terms of, we all are here today, we're doing this workshop, we're doing programs, but why do you think truly that corporates should care about mental health as an agenda? What does it impact and how does it help us to really think of it seriously?
Good evening, everybody here, and thank you, Pallavi, for that introduction. And I'm sitting amidst experts in this field, a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and my deep thanks to Dr. Castellano for initiating this along with the IRHR and Learning and Development Committee, which is a very important topic in today's world. Back in times, I must admit that companies, organizations have been giving a very less importance to mental health of employees. And if there was a case of mental illness with one of the employees or two of the employees, it was taken as a setback. Today I think we have gone a long way in acknowledging the fact that after all we are all humans. To err is human. Mental illness is not a disease, as we all agree, right? It's a state of mind. It's curable. Now for it to be curable, every company should level up and be proactive in making sure that the person with mental illness is treated at par with any normal employee in the organization. Instead of sidelining him or isolating him, he should be made to feel a part of the organization. Like for example, I remember in my earlier companies in the Leela and then the St. Regis of Marriott hotels, we used to have a lot of we had a few cases of employees showing early signs of mental illness, but those were handled very at the threshold, I must say. Now, right from the beginning, when we didn't even have mental illness cases, we used to have a lot of wellness camps conducted for the welfare of employees. And I think that must have helped employees who are on the threshold of turning into a mentally ill people, because we could see, we could visualize that there is people now, for example, a manufacturing company like MRF, where I was, it's a stressful job. It's a labor-centric job. There was no mechanization in those days. Automation has come off late in the last 15 years. When I was working, it's all labor-centric work. So there was a lot of fatigue. There was a lot of stress, and it was a piece-rated wage system. So your payment depended on how much you produced for the day. And if you don't produce, you get paid less. So there was an anxiety to earn more, and if you have to earn more, you have to produce more. So it's a piece-rated payment. For every piece produced, you could get your salary added. So there was an amount of stress in the minds of employees. And when I say employees, it's mainly workmen. Supervisors, as I was when I joined, there was a lot of pressure on supervisors to get the work done from, and it was a unionized setup. So there was extra bit of effort that had to be put to get the work done from laborers. So it was important for us to keep check of the mental state of mind of people working there, because we knew that there would be stress at it. We had a few cases. I can mention one case where because of his pressure on him being a leader of masses, he was under a lot of pressure, because there were multi-union scenario in that company, where one leader was pitted against the leader of the other unions. So there was a lot of pressure for him to retain the strength of the union. So he was going through a lot of stress. Plus the fact that he also had family feuds. So he was like on the verge of committing suicide. We learned that he was he was into it. So we acted very fast and we subjected him to counseling. And in that time there was no concept of taking people to a psychiatrist. I'm sorry to say this, but it was taken as somebody who's mentally retarded, that if he goes to a psychiatrist. So it was a very subtle way of getting a psychiatrist in the form of a counselor. He was called a counselor, but he was actually a psychiatrist. And he was made to undergo these sessions for about 7 months. And at the end of it, he was fine. So there was an element of satisfaction for the company and me as an HR head that we could do this. In the hospitality also, there are a lot of pressure because when you are in a 5-star setup, where the guest is God, Atiti Devo Bhava, where the guest is treated like a god. For that to happen, you got to be there's no margin for error at all. There is zero margin. So there's an extra stress on you to comply with what the guest asks. So there also we had a few cases where your welfare camps, welfare talks, psychiatrists coming and giving talks, that has really helped. So I think today, not today, maybe 5-6 years back, companies have realized that apart from the physical well-being of the person, it's the mental well-being which is of utmost importance for the production and the productivity that comes from an individual. I think that's where the corporates have really woken up, and I think there's a lot of work going on where corporates are working on people at the threshold itself before they actually go a long way where they are categorized as mentally ill people. I think there I think is the threshold. So corporates have a lot to do in future because as world progresses, there seems to be more stress at workplace. So therefore, I think corporates have to do much more than what they're doing today.
Thank you so much, Sharan. I think a couple of things which I resonate with because I've also worked in industry. Believe direct correlation of mental disorders in the community and in the employee force will, in fact, core things like productivity, absenteeism, your engagement in the organization. So these are obviously key topics that all industrialists are looking forward should be at the top, right? We don't want these things to fall. Being proactive about it, as Sharad pointed out, would be very, very important because having your steps taken in advance rather than waiting for the things to happen is an absolute necessity. So that's something which we can understand that industries need to take care of in the future. With that, I'd request Dr. Akshita moving into a slightly different area because you deal and you meet with people probably in the workforce and outside as well. But if you were to curtail the conversation in the people who are coming to you from professional setup or working with corporates, you might have seen some kind of trends in the recent past. What typically are the kind of situations that you see? What is the commonalities? And what do you think is causing this in today's day and age?
So what Sir said during his experience he shared, that one employee who was on the verge of committing suicide was saved then.
Yes.
They are, I think the number must have gone up by 5x, 6x, I don't know. Because every month, at least I would say, whatever practice I do, at least 1 or 2 patients every month are of stress of work and they are on the verge of committing suicide. At least 2 I'm saying. So yes, the trends are that work stress is increasing. The targets, the deadlines, the pressure which is given by the employers. Okay, and I think most of the young ones who just have passed out from their engineering colleges or any other bachelor colleges, they get these jobs at a very, I would not say minimal salary, but for the job they do, the salary doesn't look satisfactory to them. That is a sad story, okay, but that's how the market is today. And they're not satisfied with what they're getting. The demands are very high outside, the expenses outside are very high. For a small dinner, they want to go with their friends, they end up spending so much of money. So yes, a lot of pressure financially is put. Some of them have taken loans for their education which needs to be paid off. With all this, because the salary has to go on, they end up working under that stressful situation, work pressure, and they're not able to manage. Most of them are not able to manage. Some of them are able to manage because I think that's been their nature. They have been taught that way in the house, probably they have been brought up that way, that okay, fine, you have to be a little adjusting, you have to be flexible, you have to work. That is how we have grown up. The fathers will tell them that, our time also same thing happened. What is your simply, all generation is simply crying for no reason. But that's not how it is. I think with every generation, the empathy, the emotions, everything will change. I think the way we are today, 20 years later, my kids will have a different way of looking at things. My parents had a different way of looking at things. And I think that is something we need to change. So suppose, you are in the HR manager. You will be having employees who will be coming at the age of 25, 24, 25, right? So now when you started working back then, the work culture must have been different, the work must have been different, the stress would have been different. Today, the things they have to face are different. So in your mind somewhere, even though you know you want to help them, any HR manager for that matter, or anyone who is in the authority position, we know that we want to help the young ones coming in, but somewhere in our mind we are like, but we had done during our time, what is this, why did you cry over small things? That has to change first. Okay, when we break that thing in our head, that has to change, that's why we'll make success. Otherwise, having talks, having discussions, parent discussions will not help, because that change has to happen here. It's somewhat similar like the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Mother-in-law feels my mother-in-law did the same thing with me, so I'm going to do the same with the daughter-in-law. That has to change, and that I think somewhere is changing now. Things are becoming better, but in professional life also that has to change. So I think that has to start changing from the authority, and then it comes down. Of course, the people who are just joining in, they are having their different setup, they've been brought up differently now, the way we were brought up was different. They've been brought up differently now, their ways of enjoyment, their ways of venting out, their ways of talking is different. They are lonely in their life. Back then, like, at least, I'm not so old, but whatever, we have had friends, we've just called our friends and spoken to them, shared our issues, we still do that, we are still used to calling up. But the generation coming in today, they are the WhatsApp generation or the Snapchat generation who are connected only virtually. They aren't connected emotionally, they don't have that emotional friend, they don't have an emotional relative in the house whom they can actually vent out to or talk to. That also is changing. So what trend I am seeing in my practice currently is, yes, a lot of cases of depression, anxiety are coming in. Main cause being work stress, issues, financial issues, trying to cope with the society, the peer pressure. Then obviously the way I say, other addictions is one thing which Sir spoke about. A lot of these issues are leading to depression, anxiety, addictions. ADHD is a new fad which Sir also spoke about. Maybe it was always there and it's getting diagnosed currently because of the awareness, or the use of the screen time, more and more use of screen time is causing that. So yes, I mean the new generation is coming in who's working, or the older ones who are also working. The phone or the screen time is worsening things for us. We have to curb that first. So depression is something which, as we discussed, curable. If noticed at a very early stage, it is curable. We can stop it from going to that end stage of suicide and someone ending his or her life. Anxiety again is real. It is not something that someone is faking it or taka sada jata to sada so jata. It's not that way. If a person is suffering from anxiety, yes, he does feel the panic attack. He does feel the anxiety when he's performing in front of his boss or presenting a seminar in front of the boss. So that anxiety is real. So it's something which someone needs to kind of talk to that person and calm him down before the seminar. Tell him that nothing's going to go wrong. What's going to happen? Max, you'll get a fine from your boss. What's going to happen to them? It's okay. I mean, that some person in the office will have to do that for that person. That just talking to that person. Addictions, yes. Again, addiction is all about pleasure seeking. If you're not getting that pleasure, like we call it dopamine, the feel-good hormone for laypersons. So if we are not getting that dopamine somewhere else, dopamine can be got by getting simple praises, or for women, for me it's window shopping or just scrolling through Myntra and Amazon. So everyone's dopamine release is different. So So some of them find their other way of dopamine release is smoking, drinking. Okay, that's a way of coping with their stress basically. So we need dopamine to cope with our stress, serotonin to cope with our stress. People start going to addictions. ADHD, again, the way I said, which is the new trend currently, it is something which is worsening now or being diagnosed now. We do not know, but it is coming up now. Youngsters are coming up with that. So I think these are the new trends which I am seeing. Other than that, yes, there are other cases in psychiatry like paranoid schizophrenia, paranoia, cases of bipolar disorder, which are hardcore psychiatric cases, okay, which could be genetic mostly, and they could be even due to some situation. But these are the major cases which I call them disorder only if the functioning is going down. So disorder, when we call it disorder, a person is disordered when the functioning has started getting affected. Until then, yes, we all have some issue or the other. Until we reach that stage of being disordered, we shouldn't wait there till we reach there. Okay, we should start helping ourselves before that. That's important.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashad. And I think the last point that you said, I think each of us has got some kind of neuroticism in ourselves. We know it, it's sometimes in control, hopefully it's always in control. But a couple of things that really struck me from your few words are that probably as a takeaway, all of us need to really think of how we need to change our mindset to be open, working with different sorts of people. The new generations are different, the expectations are different, they've been exposed to different things. So obviously, mera chalta hai and uska chalta hai is absolutely different. We need to come to terms with that because that's the only way we'll be able to rationally work together as a team. The minute that we say that, this in my, we sit on a pedestal and say this is the way that I think it should be done, then we're not listening to the other opposite person. Another great thing that you talked about is, the dopamine effect, and maybe all of us need to think of ways of really figuring out coping mechanisms which are productive in nature. So window shopping is good as long as you don't do the actual shopping, then it will become a little difficult.
Just be happy and in the car.
That's good. Otherwise it will be a little difficult on the balance. But thank you so much for your points. And let me move on to Ketki now. Ketki, so moving, the actual segment of the conversation, we spoke of how industry should be concerned, we talked about what are the trends that we see. If we were to look at, and some of us are practitioners of HR over here, if you were to look at various wellness programs that you might want to put in the industry, what can they be and how can you try to set that up? So if I'm absolutely new as an HR manager, what are the various things that I can do, because I don't want to reach into that situation where there are severe cases. How can I identify those cases a little early on? How can I get my teams also to be involved in that entire process? So a little bit from your side would be great to hear.
A wonderful question, I would say. I remember when I was doing my master's, one of my classmates sitting over there is an HR manager of a company, Sagar Kunde. I remember when we took psychology, we were told as you all are not industrial psychologists, human resource management. And that was the title given to us. Because way back then in 2008, we finished our masters. Nobody knew about industrial psychology or people were not giving weightage to it. And I remember for my internship, I had to go all the way to Mumbai to search an industrial psychologist. Until date in Goa, I think very few companies are focusing on industrial psychologists and appointing them as a full-time person in company. And as we see situations, now I go often for corporate trainings, and I've seen that there is a need of complete industrial psychologist regularly in an industry, because as we know, as rightly started by doctor, that if you want to make a change, the mental health things should start at individual level first. I think that was the beginning that you said. It's very, very important for us to understand, if I become an HR manager today, I may be in a position to handle my mental health, then only I'll be in a position to understand somebody else's mental health. When I'm in workplace, when I deal with a lot of different aspects in my life. Being in Women Commission, I deal a lot of women's problems. I have been in Child Commission, so I've seen child-related issues. With Doctor, I'm in Mental Health Review Board, so we see special psychiatric issues. Then I'm in General Counseling, so I see general issues. And I'm also partly in teaching, so I see children-related issues. So at the end, what comes is, in every sector, the human touch. Am I right? Yes, because all of us have feelings, and even my 8-year-old has feelings, and she likes when I appreciate her,
and my 75-year-old father has feelings too. So it's the same. Psychology is same for everybody. So once you realize that, even at workplace, if somebody comes and I find my employer today seems to be little upset. I saw a wonderful video recently, which there was a manager and there was an employee. So he takes the report and is unhappy with the report and is about to react and tell you why there is a mistake. He takes a pause and he reflects. Let me ask him what went wrong. Why did he make a blunder? So I said, "Kya hua?" So then the employer says, "Kuch problem hai?" Then employee answers, "Sir, मेरा divorce चल रहा है, इसलिए इन दिनों मैं disturb हूँ." So then he realizes, "Oh, I was not even aware about it." So he says, "No worries, take a 8 days break. Once you're comfortable, then you rejoin back." So many of the time, like we have seen earlier, complete it was different. Personal life was different and professional life was different. But now it's interfering. If my personal life is not good, it affects my professional life. If my professional life is not good, I go back home and do it in my personal life. So mental health has become the core now. And as HRs, there's something called as Employee Assistance Program, wherein we inculcate on regular basis some mental health activities. Now, whenever I do trainings in corporates, this is my practical experience with them. Employees, they say at workman level, "Ma'am, tumko sampak sope amka time mein nanu." We don't get time. We are on workplace and we have to go back. I'm exhausted. I'm a mobile and buspak time nahi tha. Simple, no? Like I always tell people, if you want to find change in you, make a change in yourself. 5 minutes sit with yourself, you'll get all the answers. Tak, tak, tak. You don't have to sit for 2 hours with yourself. Am I right? Just 5-10 minutes and reflect what happened today, what I can do today. Is there something bothering me? What are the thoughts that are coming in my mind? A simple diary writing technique will help you to understand your thought processes and where there are distortions. So I think as industrial professionals, if we involve certain activities where we take employees once in 15 days, tell them just simple, like we performed today, I had a talk in a college, like to make them do that, you just scribble. Scribble on a paper for 2 seconds, and they scribbled. And after that, I told them, see in that scribbling, if something is coming out, your reflections about something about yourself is coming through that scribbling. So somebody said, "Ma'am, I can see a wave, I can see a star, I can see a heart." So somewhere it is telling about your inner feelings. Simple as that. So when you are reflecting, giving time for yourself, you will be able to understand what is happening with me. And then, might be as a team, we always have to work as a team in many situations. For any type of mental health issues, it has to be a teamwork. Now currently, one of my students, she is facing panic attack issues. Now as rightly said by Dr. Akshada, panic attack is there, it's natural. One boy came to me today, he asked, "Ma'am, how can I help a panic attack person?" Now in that case, panic attack when a person gets, he is not doing it purposely. He is having a panic attack, he doesn't know, next moment he will be fine. He doesn't know he got a panic attack. So if we create more awareness among us that mental health is looming up, coming up, there is a mental health issue. We have seen 1 among 5% having mental health. So mental health issue doesn't only mean having schizophrenia and personality disorder. It can be a burnout. It can be fear of going at workplace because there's a pressure. Or maybe I just want to be at workplace, don't want to go back home because there's pressure at home. Lot of expectations, and ye hai na apna mobile baba, which I call. This is creating double pressure. My colleague went to abroad with his family, he posted photos. So my wife is bothering me, see, he's at your level and he's going abroad and what's wrong with you? You can't take us even to Margaon. Happening? Social media? Yes. So that's why even in industries, if we all come together as a team and involve a lot of activities which will give a human touch to it. Everybody talks about their feelings. Isn't it? If I ask a question, so what are you feeling right now, at this moment? Give me your feeling words, sir.
I'm trying to understand your explanation about the role of an employer and an employee in a disastrous situation.
So that's a thought, sir.
Yeah.
Feeling. Getting my point? There's a difference between thought and feeling. Thought, sir. That is a thought. Nothing wrong. Feeling. Your feeling, sir.
I'm feeling to listen to you more and more.
Okay. Curious?
Yes.
Would that be a right word? Yes. Now go home today. On Google, they see a feeling wheel. At our level, if we understand feeling wheel, tomorrow I'll be in a position to tell my people, you're feeling this right now. I'm training my 8-year-old daughter from the age of 3 about emotional intelligence. That's it. You don't need big fundas here. You understand emotional intelligence of yourself, your employee, your colleagues. So are you upset? क्या बोलूँ sir, कल से ना तकलीफ हो रही है. Your job done sir as a manager. Employee will tak tell you everything and हाँ अभी अच्छा लग रहा है सर जी जाओ काम पे. Simple as that. Talk therapy is the most beautiful therapy. Today communication is lacking and that's why mental health issues are increasing. We all go home, we all in our bedrooms with our phones. Mama comes, tells us, youngsters, Jore baba, raho de mache. True? Yes. As colleagues, we sit for a cup of a coffee, everybody in their phones. Phone rakho bhai side mein, let's chat. Not on WhatsApp, in reality. So let's create an, I think, work atmosphere that is important, that we create that connect. Targets are there, goals are there, everything is there. But as rightly said by doctor, let's be happy. Having a Mercedes will not make you happy. Happiness is a state of mind. And that if I'm happy, I get up in the morning, the first thought, bhai, I'm happy to go back in my company. What a lovely morning today. If the thought is, aaj bhi jana hai bhai kaam pe, then gone. And that's what we have to tell our employees, and we have to train them how to think in that way, that every day feels like a new day when I go back for my work. We all do that currently, and that's why we enjoy our journey. I have been like, since I took psychology, I've seen doctor. He's one of the inspirations in mental health for me. His zeal then and his zeal now for mental health is the same. Am I right? I've seen it. So that is what it is, the passion, you know. We have at individual level, if we connect and create, it can happen at every level. Let's do it together?
Yes.
Yes, I think we can and we will. So I think that's a beautiful start for industrial counseling and employees where we can connect on mental health. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think, there's a saying which we talk about it. When you raise a child, then you need a village to raise a child. You don't raise a child alone. You need, for such kind of issues, when you talk about mental health, it needs the entire community. I think one of the things that you talked about today is that while, you need to help others, you also need to help yourself. You need to be happy, you need to be positive, and you need to be also very empathetic to hear what the other persons are saying. Be aware of your feelings and be aware of the other people's feelings. This is very important because most of the time you're trying to figure out why is that person behaving like this or doing this or saying that and being so mean. And probably when you just, you said about journaling or introspection, take a minute before you react perhaps. It's something, a good strategy to create because you probably think through why is that person even doing this particular thing, and that gives you a lever or a way to try to help that individual. So maybe a really great couple of tips that we learned from you when you spoke about this. I'm going to move back now to Sharad and bring certain instances or scenarios because Sharad, you've worked with so many different companies and I'm sure you must have seen various situations and scenarios where perhaps you had to adopt certain new policies, make amendments, make changes, or even in today's world, you see a lot of organizations, the other panelists, also co-panelists mentioned that companies are doing more and more, thinking more and more. So what do you think, has been your experience in the past, and how do you think those trends are changing, especially from point of view of, the activities and initiatives? And another dimension is, sometimes legal, guidelines that you need to work within. Because while we all are here to help our employees, we also have to be much aware of certain guardrails within which we need to work. And sometimes you need to take certain core decisions, you need to help certain persons, sometimes you cannot help a certain person. What is the framework that you need to work under? A few points from you.
Pallavi, your question reminds me of Dr. Kachman's change of tagline there. When he changed his statement from the first screen to the second slide that you showed, mental illness key to success, right? A very important tagline. Thank you, doctor. Mental health, sorry, is the key to success. it's very important for us, everybody, industry people, to understand that, if we have to really erase mental illness, or at least stop it at the threshold level, very important for us to be sensitive to these issues. Instead of allowing the person to go into, as one of the panelists said, to go into a mode where he is completely mentally disordered, right? You should be able to identify signs of him or her showing mental illness. It's very easy to understand if you are very close to your people. Now, especially for human resources persons, one of the jobs that is cut out, going in future for a HR person is diagnose these conditions in your employees. Don't just look at employees as having physical well-being. Look at their mental well-being, and for which you might conduct many camps or wellness talks, as I mentioned. But it's important to have an eye on each and every employee, whether he or she is tending towards being ill. Because if you don't do that, you can't call yourself a true HR person. And as Kirti mentioned about industrial psychologists, I think today we got to be showing signs of industrial psychologists. Right, Kirti? It's important that psychology is all about reading mind and behavior of a person. And this is required in today's world because, mental illness will come in a very subtle manner. You will not realize, it's not visible. And if it is not visible, it is all the more difficult to even identify. Forget about analyzing or assessment or monitoring. It's very important for us to identify, as I said, at the threshold level, so that you can work on the person and get him cured by subjecting him to psychotherapy or medications. Very important for the company to take ownership of their employees and don't leave it to the families to do that. Sometimes families are helpless. Today, if you go to see the cost of subjecting a person to undergo mental illness, the medications and the hospitalization is very high. And the state government does hardly any amount. It is left to the employees. And employees are not helped by the government. I've seen families crumbling. One family person getting mentally ill for lifetime. Why? Because they did not catch those signs at the earliest. They are just allowed, calling it genetic. My great grandfather was like this, so the genes must have been passed on. The family took it easy. Now, coming to the legal part of it, very important to understand. The mental health was taken very lightly in India since long. The first legal provision came way back in 1912, which I don't know whether you recall. It was an act called Lunacy Act of 1912, where if a person was found to be mentally ill, all that they did was isolate him and had custodial care of him. There was no treatment. You were just put behind bars, not exactly behind bars. It was a care center where he was treated as a patient. Now, to me, a mentally ill person at the threshold is not a patient. He requires attention. If you don't give him attention, probably he'll become a patient because you missed out that opportunity to cure him, right? So, it remained the custodial care without treatment. Till 1987, we came out with a law called Mental Illness Act, Mental Health Care Act of 1987, and then 1995, where it got changed from mere custodial care to treatment. Now, mental care and treatment later was found to be insufficient because who will take care? I mean, you are not expected to take, the government is not expected to take care and treat your person lifelong, right? The family had to step in. Then came in 2017 an act called Mental Illness Act, which was implemented in 2018, where it was not only the care but services came into being. So the person was who had mental illness problem or mental health problem was protected in terms of care and services. For example, today this act has decriminalized the attempted suicide under IPC. If you remember, IPC 309, when you attempt to commit suicide, it was taken as an offence and it was punishable. You were punished for attempting to commit suicide. Today, the Mental Health 2017 Act has decriminalized. So what it says is, when a person having mental health problems goes to commit suicide or attempts to commit suicide, he is believed or presumed to be under severe stress, and therefore he did it. So don't blame him, right? Isolate him and treat him the way you treat a mentally ill person. So that's where we have reached. I mean, finally, what is health? I mean, if you look at health, it is just the physical well-being of a person. But when you say mental health, it's all about our emotional well-being, social, psychological well-being of a person. So it's important that not only law takes care of the persons with mental health problems. It's all of us together as a society, as a community, as a family, as a nation. I think we should focus on the signs, I repeat, signs of a person showing mental illness. Finally, what is stress? I mean, you face stress because the external environment makes you feel that stress. Stress doesn't come when you're born, right? It's where you grow as a professional or in your family, when stress gets added because so many things go haywire around. That's where you get that stress. But when you, as I said earlier, when you work or be a citizen and enjoy your work and be passionate about it, I don't think that there should be stress. It's very important for all of us to realize at workplace that companies should be taking or holding hands of the employees who are mentally ill. Because one person in the department who is mentally ill can spoil the productivity of the entire department, of the entire company. So that's where we have reached. For example, today one of the protection is a police inspector in charge of your nearest village where his jurisdiction falls. If he finds a person wondering about in a mental state of mind, he feels that there's something wrong, he should cause him to be taken under his protection and start the process of treatment and care. And if he doesn't do that, it means it is dereliction of duty by the police inspector or the police in charge of a police station, where he is punished by law. For example, today under that Mental Health Act, the punishment is 6 months of imprisonment if you contravene or do not discharge your duties to help mentally ill people. If it repeats, then it's 2 years imprisonment, fine. It can be both. So such is the protection given to mental illness or mental health, persons with mental health. So protection is available, but it is for all of us to realize that mental illness is not inherited. I refuse to believe that mental illness is inherited. It comes because you are working in an environment which might be conducive or it might be hostile. It's all your mindset.
Thank you so much, Sharad. I think they were very useful, specific pointers that those of us working in the HR industry can think of. What are the laws and guidelines that we need to think about? What are the do's and don'ts that we can think about? And I think specifics like police and other protection that we might have not known about earlier. So thank you for sharing that. Sharad, I heard you multiple times saying that we should not wait for the last, right? We should be able to identify those who are borderlines or at the threshold, as we may call it. So while all of us would obviously not want to look at a workplace which is harsh, unrealistic, difficult, we strive towards that. But at the same time, let's be realistic, there could be individuals who have difficulty coping or have certain disabilities which do not allow them to see the truth of the matter or whatever reasons may be. Now, at a particular situation, we don't want to wait till the last instance and make things worse. Dr. Akshita, I'd like to ask you, right, because for all of us, really practically, when we are in our workplace, if we notice things, and all of us are human beings, so we see some certain subtle changes in behavior. So sometimes we ignore. We say, okay, this person is going through some difficult time, ghar pe jhagda hua hoga, or something like that. So you kind of ignore to a certain instance. But it's sad, sometimes you ignore to a state where it's actually burning within. So we are not trained to really observe these instances. Can you give us a few tips? Because if we as HR practitioners, or if we need to tell our managers that try to notice these things, so that if someone needs to be asked, you need help, just a simple question, do you need help, you need to talk, how can we identify those triggers?
First of all, what I said in the beginning, that is, we have to open our minds first. Start asking the question not for the sake of asking, we have to work on it also. Now, if an employee who is working with you, you know the employee for maybe even 6 months, say, but for the last 1 week, I'm saying 1 week, 1 or 2 days change in behavior is very much common with all of us. Something has gone wrong yesterday, I've had a fight with someone yesterday, today I'm behaving in an odd way, tomorrow I'll be okay once I've patched up with that person. But 7 days or more, okay, a person is behaving in a consistently odd way, where the person is being withdrawn, getting irritated on giving smallest of jobs, not working to that extent the way he or she used to work, okay. Like there's a drastic change in the person's functioning. You have to identify that yes, something is going wrong, okay, last 1 week that person has not been behaving well, that's the time you have to ask that question. If you are not comfortable or you feel that that person might not be comfortable talking to you because maybe you are at a higher position, maybe someone in between the two of you, that between you and that person, someone can go and break the ice and ask that question, that do you want to speak about something, something is bothering you, is something worrying you, okay. Ask that person, maybe might not open up for the first time when you ask it, it's difficult sometimes because everyone does not kind of start talking. Like you ask me, I love to vent out. Like if there's something bothering me, I will first thing I'll tell 10 people and I'll feel good about it. Some people do not like to. Okay, some people like to keep it closed, they don't want to disclose. But it's important that you identify that one person in your organization, 1 or 2, like 2-3 people at least, who have that ability to be approachable, who have that ability to go and talk to someone, or can get, they're like those, some not like counselors, okay, but non-professional counselors who love to talk, who love to ask about others' problems, who like to help people. So you have to identify those 3 or 4 people in your organization and give them the task of identifying. They're really good at it. They are the ones who are emotionally very quotient. There are such candidates in every organization which need to be identified, and those emotionally quotient ones can be used for this particular thing of identifying and making those people who are suffering talk. So I think that is the first step you have to take of identifying certain people who are able to do this. Again, as the work stress is going higher, as you being in the authority position, you know what the work stress is looking like, how the employees are going through, what they are going through, what are the deadlines, what are the targets, you know them. Probably you in a position where you are a leader can be the micromanager, okay, can micromanage things for them, tell them their priority list. Maybe someone who has joined in early will not know how to make that priority list. Probably you can help them by making that small list, okay, wherein you can tell, okay fine, 10 jobs you have in your hand. These 2 are the ones which are like priority, please try to finish them in this coming week, then probably you can go for the next one. Suddenly you give that person 10 jobs and say I want it in the 1 month, that person will get scared that in 1 month how will I finish 10 jobs. So if you micromanage as a leader, I think that will help. Third thing, I think wellness programs, as Dr. Ketki also said, wellness programs are very important in every organization. Having regular picnics, having coffee breaks, having lunch breaks together, having potluck lunches, okay, having like fun week for you all, having the dress up in a different way on Fridays, or having particular days where employee will look for these days, and actually these youngsters who are joining in, they are very creative in sense. such things. They're very creative. I think you can make organizational committees and they can actually set up something. So this will help. Like companies like bigger companies in Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, they have started having this wellness break where they give a 1 day break, okay, and you can avail for that wellness break anytime you want to. And I think that helps, that makes you feel good. They have got these gym memberships which you can actually join a gym and you can show it in your, I don't know how it works in the financial thing, but they are giving some allowance for gym and yoga like packages. So I think this is going to help the employees join something for their wellness also, if the company is kind of encouraging them to do that. So I think these are few tips how to do it also. I've told it how to identify also. Yeah, how to identify also.
Thank you, Dr. Akshita. I think it's like about being observant, make sure that you're watching, being really specific about what observations you have and being able to identify those alarm bells. So we're at 5:10 and already Pallavi is giving me signals. So we will open the floor to Q&A. I do have a lot of other questions, but I'm being mindful of the audience. So, go ahead.
Can I start?
Please.
One common question to both of you is generally when you are in such a negative energy environment all the time, how do you all keep yourself positive?
Would you like to take that?
It's for both of you. Because there are instances where we have looked at only actors and things like that, like Robbie Williams is one. He was looked famously all over the world as one of the most jovial actors, and he committed suicide. And nobody knew about it, that he was on that path.
I think the first thing I'll agree with Doctor was, which is common in us as expert in this field, that we went out. I'm also a person who went out instantly, whoever it is, maybe to my close people. So I think in mental health, venting out is the most important thing. If you want to be mentally healthy, happy, and enjoy your journey, venting it out. You're feeling sad, happy, angry, whatever situation it is, venting out is the first thing. Second thing, I would say, today it is very need of the hour that at India cultural level we are promoting is pranayam. Pranayam is the most important thing, like yoga, pranayam is helping us to keep that hormonal balance, like as she spoke about dopamine, so that those which we say, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin and endorphin, the hormonal balance, and being mindful. And I am being very, very mindful of what I speak, what I eat. Even I have made a rule for myself that when I eat, maybe breakfast, lunch or dinner, no phones in front. Even 10 times my phone rings. One day my daughter came to me and said, Mama, I observed that you're not taking your phone when you're eating food. I said, that's how it has to be. And today we are not even giving that simple 5 minutes time for us. So that is important, sir, that we need to, what I am doing practically is whatever I'm preaching people, I'm practically doing it. Attitude of gratitude. Being thankful for what you have every day. Journaling maybe, meditation maybe, okay, and talking to your friends and do what you love. Now, helping people, so doing social work is my passion. It's not my profession, but it's passion. So I'm doing out of passion. So even if I'm receiving 10 calls in a day, Madam, machi garaz satumji. So that moment when I go back home, I feel so good that I could save so many lives and I have that capacity to help somebody. So reflecting onto those things, and I think we as a mental health expert, we do this thing practically every day, and that's why I would say we are able to balance it well. You want to add something?
And what's the question, like how do we keep our sanity?
It's a negative energy around you, right? So there are cases where even some of the best cardiologists have died of major heart attacks. Like they always people feel this is no, it cannot be wrong with me. This is not me.
So acceptance is first thing we have to accept. Being a psychiatrist, I'm not immune to getting depressed. I do have my own, I think, times when I really feel low, when there have been many cases of depression or a lot of illnesses are increasing, their deaths increasing. So in a day, 3 people have come with grief to me. That evening even I'm a little off because I have heard a lot of negative things to myself. But that day I decide to myself I go out for a dinner or I just go out with my family somewhere or I just do some activity to just get that off my mind. Because it's important for all of us that we have to accept. We have to accept. Like small things what happen to us we have to accept and only then we can change it. So it's important that after you all have gone from here, from your professional offices, you have to have a boundary and you have to switch off to your personal life. If that doesn't happen, you're going to carry work home, and the next day morning you're going to carry the home to work. So same thing applies to us. And sir is in this field for so many years. I'm sure it affects us. But that's what I have learned, that after going home, not that I switch off my phone is on, my WhatsApp is on for my patients, I do reply, but I have made that thing to my patients that, see, look, after a certain time I cannot take your calls. It's a very clear communication, because if I ignore their calls, they will not like it.
Yeah.
So that's how I keep my boundary. I tell them, you can message me, I'll be available on WhatsApp, because that becomes easier for me. After talking for so many hours, I cannot again talk to someone on phone later after my working hours. At my home, my kids demand that time from me. So that clear communication, if you have in your own mind, you're mindful about that, and you communicate clearly to the other person, that helps the other person also and you also, and that maintains the relationship also. Doesn't have conflict in your mind. I think that's important for all of us. It's about me and my patient, but same thing about you and your employees. It's the same thing. So we all have to have that cut-off time, that after a certain time we will not be disturbed by someone. So I think that is important.
Another thing, like for them in the IT sector, 99% of their people today work from home.
Yes.
So how will they ever gauge whether a person is going through?
That's really that's a very
it's a tough situation for them.
No, it's a very tough situation, because after COVID, what I have seen, work from home burnout is real. Yeah. So I have actually made a diagnosis in my mind. It's work from home burnout, which looks like depression. Like if you ask me, I'm a person who likes working in a environment where there are many people, like where I'll talk to people, I'll be with people. Some people do not like that. Some people are okay working alone also. So they have not had a problem. But people who like that office setting and suddenly were told to work from home, they are the ones who started coming with suddenly depression, anxiety for no reason. So that was really work from home burnout, because there was no boundary as such. The same room they are working, the same room they are sleeping. There is a monotony going on, and you cannot break that monotony anywhere. So simple thing what I used to tell those people is that, identify one more space in your house where you can set up like an office space. Go there, come out for your coffee breaks the way you used to go, call up your friends from your office who are somewhere else in India, okay, and have that kind of the setup which you would have in your office. That was helping them. But yes, work from home, burnout is real. It's important that again, if there are some employees sitting at home and working from home, it's important to have this regular meetings probably where you can meet them and understand. So I think many companies now have started like 2 days a week working from office. Okay, wherein probably they meet and that's helping them. So that is something which is important, because that gets you to meet them again. But work from home, it is good, as well as it's created issues also for people who have been social and liked the office setting.
Thank you everyone.
It's not on it.
Okay, so thank you everyone. It was a wonderful session today. I feel there's a very thin line when it comes to burnout, stress, anxiety and depression. And many times we have a lot of employees who say, oh no, I'm not depressed, I'm just stressed, right? So in simple words, could you just, maybe in one line or so, help us understand what is depression, anxiety, and how to deal with the same? Because there are times that a conversation is going on and we can read out expressions that, they're really anxious or they're really depressed, and people really get frozen. So how do you deal with that? And in simple words, what are these 4 things?
So the way I said in the beginning that disorder, okay, disorder is where, see, all of us are stressed, all of us are having some or the other issue, but if today, like I used to see a certain number of patients, but today I'm not able to see that much. I'm getting drained, only seeing 2 patients, that means something is wrong with me. Okay, that means it is a burnout. I need to take a break and I need to come back after that break. So that pause which Sir also spoke about is very important in our life. Disorder is something which is very, very evident. You can make out that a person is something is wrong. Simply crying for no reason. Okay, little things you say and the person bursts out crying. The person was very jovial and very happy, didn't mind anyone saying anything to him or her, but suddenly I started feeling bad on small things and something is wrong. Okay, that's a disorder setting in. So you have to ask such a person, okay, fine, you're stressed. If your friend is saying, I am too stressed, there's some work problem going on, let that person speak out for 5 minutes what that stress is about. And probably that 5 minutes will come to know if something is really gone to a disordered stage, or it is something which can be, vented out and brought out. So this is the thin line. Yes, it is very difficult, but we have to identify that.
And I would say for all of us, Devoyu, that once in a while, you at individual level should go and talk to some expert. Very important. Like even I am a psychologist, still I have some gurus of mine, like once or twice in a year, I go to them and I vent them out. Am I right? Am I going wrong somewhere? Because as doctor said, we also get overloaded when we are into multiple things. Like my thing starts with people's problem and ends my day with people's problem all the time. So it's very important for you also at that position, like being HR professionals. We are having load, we are in industry setup, we have targets, again employee health is important. So it's important that we also go to somebody and just seek guidance. There's nothing wrong in it. And that's where that mental health taboo is going. It's okay not to be okay, which I often promote. Okay, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to hide your feelings. So as we all say, at the end I would say, accept your feelings and reflect onto them. Thank you.
We are open for one last question because I see people being very curious. There's a hand up. If someone can help with the mic, please.
Good evening. As a matter of solving or combating this, we often hear that observe your feelings, observe your feelings. What exactly is the meaning of observe? Is it like give it up or go deep into it? So it's very difficult for me to sometimes when I'm trying to talk to myself and trying to cure my own self, because there's no time as a mother or as a working professional. So, I get to hear just observe for some time, observe for a day or two, so in your clinical language. So when we say observe, obviously it's observing is not only for 1 or 2 days, it's observing over the week. So what we follow is that any certain emotion which persists for more than a week is something which needs to be taken care of, right? As I said, 1 or 2 days we all can be a little off on our mood. But that it bouncing back is important. So basically, smallest thing what I will tell you is that a thing which would make you feel good 2 days back, if 7 days later that thing also is not making you feel good, like your child's hug. Okay, child comes and hugs you and you're getting irritated and you're shouting at your child, go away. That is a red signal. Okay, that is something is bothering you. You need to observe yourself. Observe in the sense, ask yourself what went wrong. Why did I not like my child's hug today, which I love, I crave for? Okay, as a working woman, it is very difficult. A lot of guilt is always there in the back of the mind. Kids are at home, we are working. Okay, after going home also sometimes the work is not leaving us. It becomes difficult, but observe yourself, give yourself that time. So I always tell my patient that 1 hour give to yourself. Whatever you're working, mother, father, whatever, 1 hour or at least 30 minutes where you're just with yourself, doing things only for yourself. That's the time you get to observe yourself also, what you liked, which were the songs back then which you liked in your college. Okay, when I go to my gym, I play all those old songs. It takes me back to that time. It makes me feel nostalgic, and the nostalgia I love. So you have to identify what is the thing which you love and what is your comfort thing, what makes you feel comforted. That is something you have to identify and see if that is also not making you happy, you have to seek professional help.
I'm seeing a lot of anticipation and questions. You are much in demand today. I think there are a lot more questions coming.
You don't mind coming back.
Oh yeah, of course. So I'm going to keep this floor open again. So I know we had announced that's the last question, but we're still going to keep the floor open. So any other pointed questions to the panelists? We've got people who are really willing to give you very concrete answers and demystify your problem. So any other questions that the audience may want to put forward?
Okay. It's very easy for me to say, identify the mental health or illness problems and the threshold. What do I mean by that? Now, as Pallavi said, since we are not expertise as HR heads or senior managers in the organization, and partly to answer that question which she said, the difference between stress and disorder. For example, we had one employee who was a brilliant employee, always being rated very, very high every year. Suddenly one day, he went and questioned, all of a sudden, questioned a vendor, why are you here in this hotel? A simple statement. why are you here? He doesn't know you, that vendor. Yet he asked this. So the HOD questioned him, who are you to answer, question a vendor who we are not connected with. So when I realized this, I thought of asking him why he did it. He wouldn't open up. Finally, just before going, he walks up to my cabin and he says, today is the day when I was told on a phone call that my wife is diagnosed with intestinal cancer. That's why I was off. Now, this is what I say threshold. Now, many of us might not even investigate why this person said it and immediately start acting on it on disciplinary ground. And that's what our tendency is as a professional, right? But I think going forward, this is very important that, family background, family problems, which the workman might get at workplace, knowing or unknowingly, are signs that every HR person or a senior person in the organization should address or acknowledge and investigate into. That's what I wanted to share.
Just one last quick question for me. We are only talking about employees and team people and things. What happens to the people at the top? Life at the top is always lonely. So what about CEOs and things like that? What advice would you all have for them? Because there's nobody to it. HR head will never go to the CEO and tell him you look depressed. What will happen?
I would advise them that don't have to be tough all the time. You also can have a meltdown.
They do.
So accept, yes, exactly.
Tata CEO committed suicide. He jumped from the top.
Exactly. So it's important that they also come down to a thing and they talk out. It's important that at that level, do not feel that they have to be tough and they have to be strong and they cannot cry. I feel if something is bothering, each one should speak out. So that is something which is important. That as even the topmost employer, that even if he is suffering, he should seek help. It's nowhere written that he is the one who is the culprit and he is causing all the problem. It's not that way. It's a whole system. It's a whole culture.
What I meant to say is actually not that way. He needs help.
Yes, of course.
How would you advise HR heads to kind of communicate to them that you need help?
What is the technique?
They have realized that he needs help.
What is the technique to convey his feelings to him?
Well, it is very tough for them to approach the boss to say that you need help.
That's the question. How do you approach it to the boss?
From your side.
Yeah.
That's the question.
That's the question.
So for that first, they have to really accept it. They have to convince their bosses in their HR technique. Because obviously the bosses have to be convinced. It's difficult, but slowly it is going, because that's what I said, if you are not able to talk to the youngest employees, you have to identify someone in between you and that employee, right? Someone. So in the same way, you are the bridge in between the boss and that new employee. Probably you have to first accept and understand. Only then if you have convinced yourself, you have to convince the person higher up.
So that is, I may add, I know the question was to them, but so some of the organizations, what they try to do is, when you have the CXOs, obviously wellness and health is very important for this group of people. So your checkups, which are physical, also extend to probably mental and other wellness kind of scenarios. So that's one thing which some of the organizations have started doing. Sometimes regularly, sometimes not regularly, let's be a little honest, but then that's one part of the important part. Another thing which organizations also are tending to do are things like 360 feedback. So while we are HR and maybe we have one dimension or one look, getting viewpoints from the peers of those CXOs, anonymously held, of course, taking feedback from the customers that they deal with, the stakeholders that they work with. All this gives you a very good information in terms of what are the behaviors, the kind of things which are working and not working. So when you have certain data points which help you, it's not easy, of course, but as any HR professional will have to do, and it's not an easy job, I'm sure most of us will agree, is you have to take certain hard conversations and bring up topics which may be uncomfortable. So I don't know if there's any right way of doing it. It's tough, but you've got to do it.
The way you are as a person, probably do it.
You need to. But it's tricky. I agree with you so much.
If I may add on to that, I experience different heads, every head at a particular level. Of course, don't accept that I need help, as you rightly said. Now, if as HR professionals, or even what I did when I was interacting with heads is creating a little empathetic approach. Now, when you little tickle a lower step and you say that, sir, being an HR, I am going through all these things, Imagine you are the head of the company, what you must be going through. So how do you handle it? So keep the cup in his plate and ask him, how do you handle it? Then he'll take a pause and think, bhai haan kya bolu, ye sab ho raha hai. So then he will start understanding, because a lot of time crack this with principals of institutes. When I went as a counselor, when I started my journey as counselors, what are you counselors going to tell us? All bachas, yeah, we have been experienced 35 years, been heading the institute. So we know how to handle generations together. But what do you think? The principals were not getting burnout, they were not getting exhausted. Just a little bit a back foot I used to take and talk to them and make them understand, Sirji, you're so right, you're handling it so well. I am creating pressurized. How do you handle so many people, schools, staff, heads, everybody? And then that was an initial part of starting the conversation, and he used to start, me, I think I need help, I need to, can you sit with me, I can talk to you. So sometimes might be that can also help.
So different ways of probably bringing it into the conversation without offending the opposite person is probably important. So another stigma which we see very often, and I think Dr. Chita will see, and as industrialists we face, is that when we, in whatever view, with whatever experience, we observe certain people need help. I mean, you do your level of counseling, listening, sending them to maybe the manager or the friend or the colleague. You still see that there are problems which are recurring consistently. And you know that this person needs to get a little bit more professional help, and you are not equipped to do so. So really bringing that into the conversation and advising that individual, would you like to go out and meet a counselor? Can I recommend someone to you? That's a stigma which exists till today. And I have no idea how to deal with it, but it would be really great if you can enlighten us. How can we destigmatize this topic of it's okay to go out and take help? It's not that, it's taboo. How can we break that taboo, and how all of us can contribute to really breaking that taboo is an important thing. Any comments there?
I think I always, in all my sessions, I promote that as a psychologist, if I need help, we all can need help. So that's why we have to start at individual level, convincing people that all of us need help and there is nothing wrong in it. Like being in this profession, when I was a new mother, I went through postpartum. I was a working professional all my life. The moment I became a mother, I had to leave my job, sit at home, do babysitting, forget about myself even for a minute. I was going in the washroom and my baby used to knock the door, Mama, can I come in? We all women have gone through that phase, right? But as when my colleagues, my friends goes through postpartum, I tell them, there will be a phase back and you will come back to track again. 6 saal baad, 7 saal baad, you will be able to start your career again. But that moment they feel, no, I'm going through this. Now what do I do about it? So basically, I think if we talk often about it, we create GDs like this, panel discussions, even in my foundation, even if in front anybody is sitting, I just put one topic on the table. Even if there are mothers around, I talk about sex education, which is need of the hour today, good touch, bad touch, sexual harassment happening everywhere. So making, putting topics which will make them think about it. Childhood traumas, talk about it. How is it affecting you now? Talk about it. Work stress, talk about it. So basically like this programs, initiating conversations, initiating mental health talks, so that a taboo goes that I have a lot of not only females but male by themselves coming and paying me because they want to cry. Because what all this while has happened is women, they cry easily. Men don't cry. Amitabh Bachchan's dialogue, no, मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता, भाई मर्द को भी दर्द होता है. We have to understand that everybody goes through that dard and talk about it.
Thank you, Kate. That was beautiful. I think it's collectively we all need to make that change happen, and maybe we start one step over here. It was an astounding panel conversation. Thank you so much for panelists for this dialogue. And I know there are many more questions that we could really go on about, and Dr. Chita has already offered we'll come back again. We might take you up on that. Yeah, we might take that up again. But for today, I would really thank you all for your candid conversations and openly sharing such very, I wouldn't say very grand suggestions, but very honest and very one-to-one suggestions which we all can take away. Thank you, Sharad sir. Thank you, Dr. Chita, and thank you, Kate.
Thank you, all of you. And I think we really have to give a huge round of applause to our panelists and to our moderators for conducting this session so well. And I think we will go on and on. There is another session, of course, it's a book release, which we have mentioned in the flyer. So Otherwise, we would have had another, I think, 10, 12 questions and gone on till 6, 7 o'clock. I think what comes out of all of this, what all the panelists have said basically is, one is try and normalize this, as in accept that it happens. We are human beings and not robots. AI is there to help us, but our mobiles can't really be our friends. They can help us reach out to friends, but 2,000 contacts on social media and 0 friends in physically, actually, that is what is leading to a lot of disconnect. So while there is a huge connect on one side, there is a huge disconnect otherwise. So these dialogues here initiated by the Goa Chamber of Commerce and of course supported so generously by Pooj, as well as by other organizations. I mean, even GSI is present here, so their Vice President is here. So I thank him once again for his presence. But this shows the importance of this issue. This has come to the forefront is another thing that we are all very grateful for. And the simple tips that you panelists have, even shared with us is really something which will help us take this ahead. We can have many more, seminars on this if you all are interested. Someone asked a question about observation, and you spoke on meditation and yoga. So that could be another completely new chapter on how to observe. But let's, come to a close of this. And I would like to propose the formal vote of thanks. But before that, I would once again request Mr. Manoj Manale to please come and, hand over a small token of appreciation to all our esteemed panelists. So Manoj, one by one. So this is a book on thousands which was published by the Goa Chamber of Commerce. We have spoken of mental health and how important it is that along with physical health, we have mental health also. Along with this book talks about the health of our agriculture and nature, which is also very important, and that is why this book has been given as a token of our respect to nature also. Thank you all the panelists, Dr. Akshada Amonkar, Ms. Ketki Parab, Mr. Sharad Sodnekar, for so generously sharing your experience and your expertise with all of us. And also, of course, thanks to our moderator, Ms. Pallavi Desai, for her probing questions. She's really worked on her questions and what to ask the panelists so that we derive the best out of them. And this has led to such a frank deliberation also. While there may be no straight answers to all issues, but many layers have certainly been peeled off. And special thanks to Coach Dr. Peter Castellino for taking such keen interest in jointly hosting the program with GCCI. Also thanks to Ms. Nita Mascarenas for taking us through this step-in. Thanks once again to all our panelists for taking time off their busy schedule to enlighten us. And lots of thanks to you, dear audience, for your presence at all GCCI events.